Hello, everyone. It's Richie Sposato from Lane Number 1 Bowling.
Hey, my name's Jack Hart. I'm a once-a-week bowler. I have a lot of experience manufacturing bowling balls, but that was back in the late 80s, and I'm very interested in hoping everything gets better for USBC and the bowlers.
Yep, we've got Rex Byron here, inventor, president, and manufacturer of Eileen's Bowling Buddies.
My name's Bobby Nelson. I'm out of Las Vegas, Nevada. I've been bowling pretty much my whole life, managing centers. I have a pro shop, Western Touch Pro Shop. I also represent Vice Active Sportswear out of Italy. And I also do a little part-time mechanics up at Boulder Bowl. And I love the game, and I hope we can get this back on track, guys.
Bobby, I'm going to have you lead off with this, since you have the subject. World Bowling Tour just signed with the Olympic Channel to bring bowling, World 10-pin bowling to the Olympic Channel. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but how do you feel about World Bowling getting involved, but we seem to be left out here in the cold in America?
Well, we're not really officially an Olympic sport yet, because in order to be a sport, you need to pay your athletes like sports. You look at every other sport, whether it's the NBA or the NFL, nobody discloses their salaries or anything. And I kind of have an issue with that, because when you have everybody representing a company or whatever, and nobody seems, it just seems like the bowlers should be being paid a little bit more for what the manufacturers put out there, because they're just as big as an NFL team or anything. If we're a sport, then why don't the players get paid?
Well, you have gentlemen like Belmo, who rumored to have, 7 figures I saw somewhere posted from Storm.
Well, he's the only one that I can seem to find that they list as a paid salary, and they say he makes $650,000 to $700,000 a year. But I mean, who really knows?
Well, where are we at with the? Let's see, PBA. They've been crying about their lackluster viewership, and yet they seem to be doing nothing about it. And then now you've got World Bowling stepping in and being on the Olympic Channel. So no one seems to be doing anything. And then, like I said, USPC seems to be quiet about this, that they're not signing anything or even making an effort to bring bowling back into popularity.
My understanding was that the whole coaching system that they have, the bronze, silver, and gold, was so that they would have Olympic credibility and be able to do the Olympics. Because you had to have a certified standard, somebody that you would be able to call on to coach the Olympics. So it seems like they've done that. There's got to be some politics involved. Why they're not involved? Does anybody know?
I think they're broke. About this time last year, USBC had bounced a check. I don't know if you guys saw anything about that.
Bounced a check.
They literally bounced a check to pay some rent up there at the Reno Stadium that we do not own, because the city owns it. And many, many years ago, I think a lot of the bowlers were under the impression that we own that out there. But I mean, if we're just paying rent on it, seems like there's a lot of wasted money. I mean, when they posted the financials, and you look at the financials and you see a $300,000 phone bill, and you're paying $7 million in salaries and 401ks, and if you really, I'm not here to bash anybody. I mean, I have a lot of friends everywhere, but people are getting tired of watching their centers close down. You're losing things.
Well, I wrote an article, it must have been about 6 months ago, maybe a year, about bowling in the Olympics. And what I was saying is there is no, and Richie can agree with this, there is no set standard. I mean, how could you put bowling in when you have, 1,000 different patterns and no real direct format except for match play and qualifying? You have to have some kind of set standards. Bowling balls, lane patterns, lanes themselves are standard, but nothing else is standard except for the bowling ball in the lane.
Right, definitely. I think we need standardization and come up with one condition that's good for all of bowling. Once we have the game standardized, then people can practice, get better. Handicap system will work. All those things. But when you can just flick a switch and change the condition, and now all of a sudden, dictate who's going to win or who's, going to bowl good and not going to bowl good, with somebody controlling you, to me that's an issue.
I agree.
And also, I don't think that the USBC nor the PBA know how to promote the sport. I'm in the entertainment, business as well, promoting, music, concert shows, producing television shows myself
That's for sure.
in the bowling world. But, they don't know their own product. They don't know what their product is. They don't know what their sport is. And I don't think that they know how to promote the game. They don't know their product, so how can they promote it when they don't know their product?
Well, it's really hard. It's hard. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We talked a little bit earlier before we got on about a vision or the lack of vision. And if we had a vision of how to get the sport in to the Olympics, and then how do you accomplish it? I mean, there's no it just comes to you. You have to go out and make it happen. And we all know that, anybody that's been successful at anything. So how do we accomplish this? And it does come down to standards. I would love to see the USBC starting to be proactive and show a vision. I'd love the ball companies to actually educate the people on the standards of what a ball really is. I always tell people this. Tiger Woods' driver goes up 350 for him every time. It's not going to do that for you, but that doesn't mean that his driver is not good. They promote balls that they're the same for everybody, when basically every ball is a golf club. And if everybody got to understand what those were, we'd buy more. To me, we'd buy more bowling balls. I think we confuse people in this industry way too much instead of simplifying it. So we need those standards to simplify and educate.
Right, we can't be in a constant change. It seems like the industry is constant change, lane conditions, cheetah patterns, rules, and even two-handed bowling, I think, needs to go away.
Well, you got that, and you got balls of the month or balls of the week. I mean, every week you're seeing a new release by either Storm or Brunswick or somebody out there, and you saturate a market that's already, got a very limited market now, very limited buyers, and who can afford $200, $229 a ball every week?
All right. Well, let me ask you guys this question, because I'm in the process of making an ad, and you guys are going to be able to see this later, probably April to July. And I'm working with As Seen on TV. We're doing a campaign, and it's going to be presented to the country, not just to bowlers, to the country, to educate people about bowling. I have never seen a bowling ad. Where's everybody advertising to bring in more people to the industry? They only advertise. They only advertise themselves. They're like on a gerbil wheel, where it just revolves around themselves. They never get out of the cage. So we got to get off the gerbil wheel and get out of the cage to bring more people in. I mean, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure to me.
Well, along those lines, as far as trying to bring more people in, I don't think that's the real big problem. And they're spending all their time trying to get more kids involved. But the real problem is how do you get people to stay involved and not quit? That's the problem. Because what good is it to get all these kids involved, and then when they go to college and instead of wanting to be a professional bowler and make that their profession and their life, if there's no money there, they end up quitting and going somewhere else.
Well, you just hit a big thing is educating the children, because every great movement of changing anything starts with our kids. And from the stats that I've heard, and I don't know if it's 100% true, but high school bowling and collegiate bowling are increasing, and junior bowling is decreasing. So to me, that says that they're not doing as good a job as they could to capture and keep those kids.
Well, let's touch on USBC. What we've got is you're chasing or putting money after what? Putting after junior programs, which are out here failing because no one really wants to spend that much money to give their kids that, a bowling ball, shoes, a bag, everything you have to have. where's the sponsorships from the other companies that should be promoting this, because it's their livelihood as well. The bowling ball, Brunswick and Storm and well, I guess only two I can think of, EBI as well. Shouldn't they be promoting the kids? That's their future bowling ball buyers.
Well, I think the ball manufacturers are being hijacked by the PBA, and they're sucking all their advertising dollars out of them, and they don't have anything left to spend otherwhere.
Well, I think it's the other way around. I think that the ball manufacturers actually kind of control the market at the moment, and they haven't been regulated because, from a personal experience, being out on tour and trying to be an independent bowler and bowling all my life and trying to live a dream, to go out there and be able to do well enough to have access to a truck to get a bowling ball and then get out there and say that I can't get one because I don't have a ball rep is ridiculous. I'm totally against that. I don't want to be owned by anybody. Why can't the game be genuine anymore and people just be themselves instead of everybody running around like stormtroopers and little gangs and bring
All right,
in the
well, you have hit one of the biggest keys, which is I want you to think of every sport on earth, and we honor the stars. In this sport, it's almost that we honor the PBA. You guys that are on tour get treated not as great as you should be. You're not the stars.
It's terrible.
In their viewpoint, and we need to change that. Exactly. The money, the sponsorship, the treatment, everything needs to be raised to the level it should be for the respect. When I was at South Point and I was watching you guys at the World Series a few years ago, this is kind of a funny story, but I go down and I get a haircut, and this guy's got one pitcher, and it is, who's the guy that does the telethon that used to do the telethon? Jerry Lewis. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. You got Jerry Lewis's picture. And he goes, yeah, I cut his hair. I used to do contests. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, I won $100,000 on a hair contest once. I'm like, you can't even win $100,000 up there as one of the best bowlers in the world. What's wrong with that picture? The best professional bowlers don't make what janitors do, quite frankly. There's maybe 10 of them.
PBA is making the lane conditions of stars. Animal patterns is that. They're promoting lane conditions and animal patterns, and they're not getting any sponsorship from those people, from those names. They're doing things backwards.
Well, and it's also it's confusing because when you think about a ski resort, green is pretty obvious. It's the easy ones. Blue, tougher. Black, tougher. Double black diamonds, you don't want to go down unless you're an expert. So what do all these patterns mean? Nobody understands them. It's confusing. Just like the ball.
Isn't the goal here to get more league bowlers?
If you want the sport to grow, you need them.
Yeah, so now, as a league bowler, for the average new bowler or somebody under 200, for them to compete, they've got to spend $1,000 on bowling balls. Not just one or two, they're going to need 4 or 5. That's $1,000.
Right. But all these different lane conditions they're doing is that they're forcing you to have more bowling balls, spend more money, chasing a carrot that you're never going to catch. Where they need to bridge the gap between league and professional and create one lane condition, one template that you can use in league and professional. So now the more leagues you bowl is going to be practice, and once you get to 230, 235 in league, when you go out on tour, you're going to average 230, 235. Whether you win or not, it's another story. But having the same conditions in league as you do on the pro tour is going to promote league bowling, and then once you get good in league, now you think, well, now I can go on tour, and you're going to average the same. But when you go on tour now, and you're averaging 230 in league, and you average 185 on tour, that doesn't make you want to bowl.
Hey, nobody loves bowling more than me. Back in 1972, I averaged 204. That was high in a large metropolitan city. But that was using 1, maybe 2 balls. Now I can't even think about competing with the guys that can afford to get, 20, 30 balls. It's frustrating, and it keeps other people from wanting to bowl. Now, back in the day when I had pro shops, I would drill balls and give them out all the time to get my friends to bowl, and they knew they would be able to compete with their bowling ball, their personal, individualized bowling ball. Where now, you need a room full of balls, and it's too expensive.
And the PBA registration, is not letting people bowl with their personal ball that they feel they can bowl the best with. You have to be product registered in order, for bowlers to be able to use your products. And again, that's, causing a divide in the industry and, making things more difficult for bowlers to bowl what they feel they can score the best with.
We're going to take a short break here and change subjects.